second edition of the Atlanta Generative AI group, and thank you all for coming out tonight. It's really about, the idea really is to try to create a generative AI group, a community out here in Atlanta of people that are either doing work with generative AI, are interested in generative AI, are trying to transition skills, or are just playing with it on a personal level. So whatever the level of involvement is, we believe this is a technology that's going to impact how we do technology and even how businesses use technology for a very long time. So we're really excited to be in this space, and we wanted to just create an avenue for people to come together, share ideas, whether you're working in corporate and doing some stuff with it, or you've got a startup, or you're just doing some stuff on a personal level. So typically we'll start with like a, just intro, everybody get to know each other. But I've got, so we've got 3 demos tonight. So I'm gonna be doing a demo, and I've got Artie Merritt. I'm gonna put him on the screen. He's one of we used to work at Amazon together, and he's a founder of Reconify. It's a generative AI startup in the Bay Area, and he's been gracious to join us for a demo tonight. He's coming in via Zoom, so I'm gonna have him actually go first, so that way we don't keep him waiting too much. So let me put that on the screen. There he is. So he's gonna be doing a demo of his product, Reconify. And I'm going to do a demo of an Amazon product called Amazon Bedrock. And then Jeremiah from VoiceWorks is going to do a demo of the VoiceWorks product. So since Artie is remote with us, I'm going to actually have him go first, right? And then we'll come back and kind of do intros, and then we'll go into the two other demos.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, Sam, and thanks, everyone. I really appreciate the opportunity to present to you all tonight. I'm Artie Merritt. As Sam mentioned, we worked together at AWS for a while. I'm the founder of Reconify. Before this, I was at AWS on the Conversational AI Partnership Program. And before that, I founded an analytics platform for chatbots and voice assistants. So Reconify is an analytics and optimization platform for Gen AI, and that could really be any type of application, whether it's customer service related chatbots, agent assist, or content creation, like any kind of text creation, marketing copy, or even image creation and manipulation. So I just want to show you a real quick demo. And if folks have questions, feel free to chime in. So what you're seeing here is just a quick overview of all the apps that I'm tracking. I'm going to pick one so that it becomes a little bit more interesting. This particular application is a chat application. So some of the metrics are what you'd think of for traditional analytics, say the users, sessions, but since we're getting into generative AI, we start keeping track of the interactions, the token usage, the cost, as well as the latency, because these last two especially start to become concerns for enterprises. But what's much more interesting than this, than just looking at the numeric metrics, is really diving into what people are trying to do. Like, what are they saying with the prompts, and how are the prompts responding? Or how's the Gen AI responding to the prompts, sorry. So what you're seeing here are all the prompts being fed into this particular application, and I can filter based on the type. So I can select by user and see all the different prompts that users have submitted in. And if I selected one, like this one here, tell me a funny cat joke, I can see all the responses that were created, from telling a cat joke. I can also look to see if there's any similar prompts to this and compare them. So tell me a funny cat joke versus, tell me your best cat joke, for example. And this is just for fun, right? This is just sample data. But now you can start to compare the two. If I go back to the prompts, though, it's a bit overwhelming seeing all these prompts, and it's not really clear what's happening in the application. So we have this concept of prompt clustering. So here, let me just go back to the prompt. So these were all the individual prompts, and it's, like I was mentioning, it can be a bit overwhelming seeing all these, and it's not necessarily clear what's bubbling up as the key things that people are trying to do. If I do the cluster, though, I'll just filter this again by the user. Now it starts to bubble up the key themes, effectively the intents of the user. So this is figuring out the intents without actually an intent model. It's doing it off the clustering, so semantic similarity clustering. And now I can start to see there are folks trying to find out, well, Jason Tatum make the Hall of Fame. How long does it take to get to Mars? What are must-see things to do in San Francisco? And it can expand these two to see what those different prompts were. And then I can actually go in and explore them as well. Like, what are the must-sees in San Francisco? Let me explore them. And now I can start to compare responses. So what are must-sees in San Francisco versus what should I see in San Francisco? And these two were basically 96 or 97% the same, but I can start to compare that way. I can do the same from the responses. So it's one thing to see all the responses. Again, it's a bit overwhelming. If we do the clustering though, now we can start to see what the common responses are. In this way, we can look at how the prompts differed. So this could help you perhaps with prompt engineering. So let me pick, here's one about traveling to Mars. So we can dive in and look at all the responses that were similar to how long does it take to get to Mars. So this is doing that semantic clustering in real time on a decent amount of data. That's what takes a second. But let me just pick two. Just pick two here at random here. And what we can see, these were about 89% similar. In one case, the prompts were, you're a space scientist, how long does it take to travel to Mars? The others, you're a space expert, how long would it take to travel to Mars? Basically the same thing, just two different types of assistant. I can change it that way, how fast can we get to Mars. So the idea between these two reports, the prompt clusters and the response clusters, is it can help you identify issues perhaps with your prompts or if you're doing fine-tuned models with the model. So you can either improve the prompt engineering or the fine-tuned model. We also keep track of all the transcripts too. So you can see the back and forth interactions. If you're concerned about model usage, we can dive deeper into that too and show like this particular application is using 4 different models. And now we can start to see like things around the latency and cost. So it's interesting that GPT tends to be a heck of a lot slower than AI 21's Jurassic. So that could be a factor in which model you use. You can also see the cost differences too. But one of the things we have beyond the analytics is actually tools to take action. And one of those tools is guardrail alerts. So if I go back to the prompts here, you can set an alert on both prompts and responses. So perhaps, this is just for fun. Tell me a funny cat joke. Perhaps you don't want people asking that. A more realistic example is the Samsung case where folks were submitting proprietary code and obviously Samsung didn't want that to go into other people's models. So setting a guardrail on that, you can set the threshold, how similar, in a case is like 50% similar to 100% the same. You can have that notification go to an email or a webhook. And you can do this on the responses as well. So if there's particular responses you don't want to go back to the user, you can set that guardrail on that too. So I can show you this real quick. On that cat joke, just for fun, this is the code. It's just going to ask, tell a cat joke. So I'll trigger it here real fast. I just do it twice. Usually it tells a pretty similar enough joke, so I'll just do it twice. So hopefully one of them triggers the alert. And now if I pull up my email, I should have hopefully one of them triggered the alert. So yeah, they just came through. So I'll make this bigger too. So I hit it a couple of times. Then we make it bigger. So I had set an alert on this particular response. And this response came through that was about 68% the same. So that triggered that alert, and then it can jump in and view that interaction. It's one thing to get this via email, it just lets you know it happens. But if you use the webhook instead, then you could actually do something in real time. So this particular response is getting generated. You get that alert via the webhook, and then you can take action on it programmatically, whether that's preventing the response going out, doing some additional editing, maybe it's removing PII if that was the issue, or even notifying a person to come take a look and have some sort of human in the loop or human intervention before the response goes out. So that's really a quick overview of the platform. And we have some additional features coming out for caching responses, so it can help improve that around the cost and latency, and some other things around feedback mechanisms. So pause there in case anyone has any questions or anything.
All right, thanks, Artie. Let me see if
Yeah.
anyone has any questions for Artie.
Question on your cost. What do you do using the data, basing the cost on it?
I didn't. Can you repeat the question, Sam?
How's your costing? Is it based on usage or data?
Oh, right. Yeah. So to be upfront right now, it's free to use. It's just getting folks up and running and getting feedback and all that kind of stuff. Once we add it'll be a SaaS model once we turn on the pricing, and that'll be based on a couple of things. One is the amount of data going through, which is just the tokens. So there's a small fee per token. So it's pay as you go pricing, and then there's three sliders: the amount of tokens, the number of seats. So if you have one user looking at the data versus 10 users looking at the data, and then the tools, there'd be a small fee on some of the tools, like that alert notification, a small fee per alert. So this is all pay as you go pricing. So it's hopefully it'll be reasonable for folks, and fairly easy to just trying to make it as frictionless as possible to get up and running.
Yeah, and earlier, I'll just add one thing, since I've seen the product before, right? Basically, to use it, you integrate the Reconify API into your code base. Which languages do you support, right?
So there's a node module. There's a node module and a Python module that makes it super easy. So if you're using, say, OpenAI, for example, it's just a couple of lines of code. You would include the Reconify module, and then you'd pass, after you create the OpenAI, initiate OpenAI, you'd pass that in to Reconify. And then from there, you just program as normal. You just use the same OpenAI API, and all that data is being sent over asynchronously. Similar with Bedrock, Amazon's Bedrock, they don't have a module for Node, but they have one for Python. So a similar kind of thing. You would just include the Reconify module, pass Bedrock to it, and then you just code as normal with Bedrock, and it's all asynchronous, non-blocking. You can use the REST API as well if you're using a different programming language, or you're integrating with different providers. So the NPM and Python modules work well out of the box with OpenAI and Bedrock, and then and Bedrock supports 5 or 6 different platforms like Cohere and Stable Diffusion and all that kind of stuff, Anthropic. So you can get all those through that, but otherwise you can just use the REST API, and there's documentation on what the different fields are.
I've got one more question. One second.
Yeah.
So the question is, can you explain the use case of the product?
Oh, yeah, it's so there are 2 primary users. The main one that I'm focused on is product managers for delivering high quality, highly effective generative AI, so they can understand how the generative AI is responding to the prompts going in, whether those are user prompts from a chat application or something else. So it's really to improve the overall quality of the application. They can see how the generative AI respond to the prompts, and then use that information to either improve the model if they're doing a fine-tuned model, or update their prompts if they're doing prompt engineering. And then the other piece is that those tools are to really help you take some form of action, like the guardrails. Again, that goes to delivering a better user experience that's also compliant and adheres to whatever your company policies are. So they're the primary user, and those are the use cases. But engineering managers, and data scientists can also use this too. So if they're the ones that are actually, doing the fine-tuned model, being able to see that data, experiment, all those kind of things.
So
Did you hear that?
No.
So the question is, does this product need to be integrated into a chatbot, or is this product itself a chatbot?
Oh, it's not a chatbot. It's an analytics platform, so it can be integrated into any application. I was just showing you one with a chatbot experience, but it could be really anything. Like if you were building an application to do note taking and note summarization, intelligent document processing, whatever it is, you'd be able to see how those prompts going in, what the responses are going out. So basically chatbots and customer service is a big use case for generative AI, but people are using generative AI elsewhere as well. Like seeing platforms for gaming, marketing content creation, sales content creation. There's a popular pizza company that we've been chatting with where they built an internal tool for their marketing team, and it's to generate marketing ideas. And it was kind of funny because the person who built it, it's not just to create like the marketing content, but the marketing ideas itself. He was saying that it kept generating ideas to give away free pizza, and they don't want that to happen. So the guardrail component here helps with that. So it prevents like don't propose giving away free pizza. And then the other thing is he just didn't know how his marketing team was even using the application. Like what were they typing in? What were they asking of it? So seeing the report that I was showing earlier, that prompt clustering, where you start to get an idea of what are folks trying to do. So he would gain insights from that, and he would have the guardrail component too. And that's not a chatbot experience. That's a sort of marketing idea generator.
So we decide what the marketing team. So based on the historical data, there is a marketing team and generation is design. Is that what this product is used?
Oh, Sam, could you?
Yeah, so she's asking if this product would be used, for example, to help the marketing team generate marketing content. Was that the question?
Okay.
So I could help a little bit. So before this, I guess before Amazon already started a conversational analytics company, which means you're building an application that uses voice or natural language. His product was like the analytics engine. You just plug it in and you can see all the reports and analytics about that product. And this is that and more for generative AI. So if you have an application idea, whether it's a chatbot, summarization, whatever it is, and you want to use OpenAI, for example, as the Gen AI engine, if you build that application and you put it out there, you might not know how people are using it, how many utterances are they doing, what a similarity, what this is the model doing that you don't want it to do. And Reconify, basically, if you plug in Reconify, it would basically help you monitor and have analytics on how the application users are using the language model. And then you can set triggers and alerts in it of things you don't want to happen. And that would just, this will help you do that. So it's a tool for builders who are building generative AI applications to get analytics and control over the solution. You can track
Okay.
usage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks, Sam. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Artie. This has been very educative. It looks like for the team. So thanks for dialing in. And we're gonna move forward with the other demos. So
Well,
if you wanna hop off or if you wanna hang around.
yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for letting me be part of this. Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate it. And if people have questions or anything, you could just, feel free to ping me or just already at reconify.com. So
All right. Thank you so much.
thanks.
All right, bye.
So, VoiceWorks.ai, and I'll give a quick background where started out as a conversational AI platform and have since kind of grown into a Gen AI platform. Just kind of builds business solutions for the enterprise and for enterprise businesses and SMB. Can you guys still hear me right? Yes. Okay, good. So what we realized in the market was, you asked about a use case, and understanding that this is new technology and it's still finding its feet, and the technology is going through so many hype cycles and growth cycles, we decided to tackle use cases directly in businesses and just look at what businesses do today and try to see how we could bridge that gap and not only build a platform that enables builders build solutions, business solutions. On the back end, we can integrate with a number of enterprise systems. So wherever your data is housed or your systems are operating off, we can talk to those systems. On the front end, we have a designer, so you can build workflows and you can build any type of solution that's relevant to your business. Those integrated on a no-code platform is summary of what VoiceWorks, the VoiceWorks platform is. So after going through that process, we started building solutions, because now we have the platform and trying to get ahead of the market and just kind of showcasing what we can do with AI products. So let me not take up too much time here.
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah, it's a bunch of Zoom stuff here. So through the whole process, we've been around about 5 years, and we did a lot of work with a number of organizations that were experimenting with different solutions, and partnering up with AWS, we were able to kind of get on the back end of a few organizations and see what they were thinking about then what's now traditional AI, NLP based solutions. So we started building out this concept called blueprints, and we have a whole library. I think we're probably up to about 30, 40 blueprints for everything from payment management, appointment booking, customer service tools. So today I'm going to go over the GPT Service Assistant, which is more in tune with Gen AI. But I just want to talk about what we started out with real quick. For instance, if you want to build like a customer service assistant, simple assistant, you can grab this blueprint and go in and just kind of tell the launchpad or wizard about your business, your name. Just grab this off my. So tell us about your business and kind of run through the wizard, your operation hours and services and products that you might have, your opening hours, and if you have FAQs. So the type of, can you see that?
Yeah, go to Zoom.
All right, so 5-page wizard, no code, just tell us about your, let me go back then so you can see your previous pages. So basically here you have the option to just list your top 5 services, your top 5 products, select what days you're open and what days you're not. And essentially what you're doing in the back end is you're training the bot. You're training it by just telling it basic stuff about your business. Here you can have questions like, do you deliver? And enter the questions in any number of ways that they could be posed to the bot, and then put in your answers. Pop it in. Oops. What do I do? Okay. Yeah, so once you're done with that, next page, you publish it and it's done. Right? So that's the traditional version. So that requires a bit of work. You're entering your information. So let's go back to what we have now. And both are perfectly fine for different use cases, whatever scenarios you have going on. The GPT-based assistant, that kind of fast tracks that process. And it's basically, you fill out your information and point it to a training website, a training webpage. Manual rags. Give me a second here.
So where does this GPT assistant reside? In other words, is this a Chrome extension? Is this do I drive first to your platform and then go to the assistant? Where does it reside?
So you build it on the platform and you can get extract the code to go embedded in your page. So it can, and I'll get to that real quick. Let me, I was going to show the process, but it involves a bit of registration. So I'll skip that, see if I can. I'll just do it.
Yeah, probably in the interest of time, maybe you show the front side.
Front side, go straight to that.
Yeah, to the actual.
Okay. All right. So basically, you would point it to a website that it trains off of, right? And you could have a wiki page or a blog page, and you just kind of keep updating that and telling it about your business, telling it about your site, and it trains the bot on it. Can you guys see this real quick? So we have a number of channels that it can be published to. You can surface it as a web chat, which is embedded in your site, and header of your site, and it pops up on that page. The same bot can be activated by a phone line. Now, our platform is integrated with Amazon Chime, and that would allow you to generate a phone number for this on the fly. So if you have a traditional IVR system, you can just direct it to that line, and it'll be the same bot interacting with your customers. We also have a digital human that you can add to it. If you wanted to do that, you could pick any one of these animated characters and select a voice that you prefer, and that would just kind of give our personality to the same chatbot. Otherwise, it works fine. You could chat with it. Right? You could chat with it and enable the digital human or not. So this is one that I set up for. Let's see if we have audio. See if I can get the audio to come out. Audio on tracks. All right, one more piece. When we build these bots, we find that we have to engage in training users. So the traditional one that I showed you, that you had to fill in the information of your business, the way we kind of did that was we load up the welcome message. So the bot will come up and tell you that, hello, I'm your friendly bot for ABC company, and I do appointment booking, complaints, or whatever the company does. And it'll also inform them that you can ask me ABC. And it needed to be structured like that because without the training, the bot kind of strays or just kind of fails and just lets you know that it can't answer the question. But with this, that changed a bit. Since it's fully trained, we could just solve that problem with these buttons and just kind of guide you. Or cards. Let me make sure the audio is coming down because it's taking away my control. I think Zoom has taken the audio. My controls are gone. But basically, it's reading the welcome message. So I'll just move on with this. So I can ask it, and this version of the bot had no training at all. It's just pointed to a web page, and it's going to go, and the system message, which is the prompt, has been trained to like build its personality. And even that response is a bit long, so you can train it, hey, make your responses succinct, no longer than 40 words or 20 words, depending on what the scenario calls for. And also kind of, give it guidelines like, if you don't have an answer to a question, don't lie or don't make it up, just refer to get in contact with someone in support, and it will do that. And that's pretty much all the training you have to provide. So I can go through this process asking about the business, their products, their services, locations, availability, and then decide I'd like to book an appointment, or I'd like to, and this is all based on no training.
Right, this goes to their FAQ page and is able to answer.
Mhm. Yeah, so the processing of the language is happening with GPT. So it's processing my free-form questions, and it's framing its free-form responses based on that training data. So if your website is fully packed and has all your information, you just kind of point in that direction, and that's it. So I'll just ask our question in a just randomly phrased manner. Let's see.
While you're writing that, if the answers aren't coming back exactly as you expect, as a user, could I go in and engineer the prompts?
Yeah, fine tune it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're also building out a dashboard. So this is completely on frame. It just came up with that response because it doesn't. It came up with this response on its own. I think that's part of the prompt, that if they would like to speak with someone, just collect their information and let us know. So this hasn't been fully trained, but it asked me for last time I tried it didn't ask me for my phone number, but it decided I need phone number, email, and address. Doesn't really need your address. So we might tell it don't ask for the address, get an email address or a phone number, a callback number. So I'll tell it that. And the platform, it's also integrated with our messaging systems, that the account admin that set it up will receive SMS messages if we have the chime or the SMS feature enabled, and also emails and notifying you that this is a complaint or this is an appointment booking. Like right now, it's not looking at your calendars, so it can't book the appointment, which is coming soon in the future. But right now, it just tells you it's an appointment. Call this customer back or call this person back. And so we're kind of progressing the whole conversation of what can generative AI or AI-based solutions do for a business straight to the solution, because that's where the business users are. And we chose customer service because it's wide. It's in every vertical. In some shape or form, you're dealing with your customers. And it's relatable. You have a business, whether it's an SMB or it's a large enterprise, whether your customers are internal or external facing, we can train it on data. This could be HR, it could be vacation time, it could be vacation policy, it could be training data. You could present additional content, like if it's training video, you have a new employee, go talk to the bot, and they'll ask you, how do I fill out form ABC? It pulls up the form, and it shows you a training video, like, hey, this is what you do with it, this is where it goes when you're done, and the bot handles that. So let me see if I can.
Is this also voice enabled?
It is, but for some reason, my controls are gone for audio. Yeah, it's transferred my audio. Yeah, so so this is part of the dashboard, so you can see the conversation you have, and then you can go into the back end and configure the system message, which are the prompts. And go back. Yeah, so these, again, like I said, they just kind of read off what the bot says. So it is audio enabled, but my audio for some reason has been, locked out.
Is it on Amazon?
I can, it might be a Mac thing. I can show the audio when you're done.
Okay, all right, cool. Is it on Amazon? AWS? We do have product placement in the marketplace, AWS marketplace. So you can purchase the service through AWS marketplace, yes. So, but I mean, you can pay us through AWS actually, but this specific product is not there yet. We are we've had a waiting list for about a couple of months, and we have a few users on there, and we're in the process of opening it up for just general use, and it's free to try right now. No credit card involved, but what we're looking for is just to engage users, business users, and just see the type of use cases that are being deployed. And just like Artie said, we're reviewing the data and reviewing the prompts and seeing how accurate it is, and just fine tuning the system message more, so it's more user friendly and more realistic. So to get it here, we went through quite a lot of incorrect responses, and just, it's fine tuned to the point that it's, we're pretty confident in putting it out there.
Are you asking if it's running on AWS or if it's, so the platform runs on AWS,
yeah.
even though it's capable of being deployed to other cloud platforms like Azure, if necessary, but the SaaS service runs on AWS, but a customer enterprise customers can have their own instances deployed into a cloud of their choice. It runs on VMs basically.
So are you saying that it can be deployed both in AWS as well as Azure, right? I mean,
Both in AWS and
As well as
Azure.
Azure, yes. So we do
interestingly, internally we're actually a Microsoft shop, so we build on Azure mostly, but we run our SaaS services on AWS, and so we can run both.
Is each bot segmented?
What do you mean?
So, I mean, you're setting up a bot. Is it segmented from other bots that you're setting up?
Right now, the account would only allow you run one of each bot type, right? So we have different blueprints. Right now, you can't have multiple GPT assistants. So you can have a GPT assistant, appointment booking, insurance billing, but they are segregated. They're not the same bot. Yeah. So on the back end, the app engine is running as an individual publishing.
You have a repository and then copy a bot.
You can build your own blueprints.
Okay.
So another functionality we have on the platform is if you wanted to build a bot for a specific industry that you're familiar with, Our platform will allow you build it and export it as a template or a blueprint template, and then you can host it in the store here and actually charge people to use it. So that's a feature that we kind of planned for, and that functionality is available. Hasn't been launched, but it is there. That's how we build this blueprint. When we worked through the use cases that we saw from the enterprise customers and small businesses that came up, we just kind of like kept seeing a couple, and we're like, okay, maybe an appointment booking thing is something we don't want to keep building it, you know? So.
Yeah, just to add to that, so we have the concept of accounts. You go to our website, you register, you get an account. Within your account, you can have multiple bots, and they're separate from each other, but we also have like repositories and things that you can establish within the account. And we have the concept of things called categories where you can separate each bot, or you can choose for them to use the same data if you want. Now, your account is completely separate from other customers' account. And for large enterprises, so we have got some customers that are in regulated industries, they even want their databases and their servers separated. So we're able to deploy separate managed instances that's in like a completely separate VPC just for the customer.
Okay.
So that way, if you're Coca-Cola, your bot is not running on the same server as Pepsi, right? So we're able to do that. It was a requirement. One of our customers, Medtronic, to deploy a platform, we had to deploy it in that way, right? But within your account, we also know that in enterprises, you might have shared data sources, and you don't want each person to have to establish connections to each of the data sources. So you can define data connections at the account level, and then have multiple developers or designer building bots and reusing those data sources. So we've kind of pre-built all that stuff in there.
So your feeds can be customized.
What's that?
Your feeds can be customized.
Exactly, customize how it works.
What if the company is a startup and they do not have the data?
To train the bot? Well, you would have to create it. You just, a simple blog page is fine, and you just kind of tell, I mean, and that's why I said that there's applications where the service assistant, the basic one it might be appropriate, where you just kind of type up a summary about your business. A brief description would train the bot, and it's always going to default to that description to phrase or response. And then your FAQs is a growing list, it's a living list. So as you have more knowledge on your business, you can keep asking for it. If people keep asking about this product or this service, we don't do it, or we do it, and this is it, you know, and just, you know, build up the knowledge base of the bot.
So currently we have only 3 apps, right? 3 apps.